1. Woo! That was quick. As usual, I have to check my sound. Okay, sounds perfect. I'm gonna lower my sound. So, I have not been on the live streams in a while, and there is no reason other than there was nothing. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing a goddamn thing. Like, there was like a whole bunch of stories that were being released. I was reading that. I was going to the beach, you know, being social and everything. It's beautiful. Going to the beach, having fun with my family and friends, enjoying life, enjoying people, enjoying things. I even posted a video of Jones Beach. So if you wonder where I was, it's Jones Beach, some other beaches around Connecticut. Life is good. So I would like to preface this by showing you my beautiful Macheteros hat. It's a hat that belongs to a revolutionary group in Puerto Rico who wants, not revolution, I guess you could say it's revolutionary, but in the sense that we won our independence, you know, because it was Constitution Day yesterday for Puerto Rico. I decided to wear this. And I would also like to show you my kendo stick. I don't know why, other than I just love it. Isn't it beautiful? It's not a boomstick, but it's a stick nonetheless. So, let's keep it like right now. So, I'm distracting myself because I guess, spoilers, I didn't like any of these 3 stories. One is just middle of the ground, meh. The other 2 are just like, raw! And I'm not even done with, like, the Wizard is Heart one, which I'm not the only one. You can say I'm picky, which I am picky, because I'm not into, like, dopey romance stories. I only read these because I only started reading these as, like, a stress reliever, because it was like 3-4 years ago when I started reading these as a stress reliever, and to say, why the hell not? People keep saying visual novels are good and stop judging them because they're just romance novels. And I said, why the fuck not? Should I not, like, why am I discounting something just because romance novels suck? I've read plenty of romance novels. I read weird ones, though. I read like vampire ones or tragic gothic stories, or I love the gothic horror love stories. I like things that don't turn out not necessarily melodramatic, because I can't stand, like, The Notebook and stupid shit like that. But, like, there's a tragic element to it, or that they don't stay together in the end. I, for one, like the ending to Pocahontas, the first one. Because she didn't stay, like, the Disney Pocahontas, I should say. She didn't stay with the, something Smith, John Smith. Why? One, she was a teenager, preteen, actually, in the real life story. That'd be kind of weird, but back then it didn't really fucking matter. And 2, because fuck that noise. I like that story. I wish the second movie was a little bit more tragic, since her ending wasn't so good, but they ended it right before the ending of her life. So that, you know. Also, you know, she was kidnapped by the... You know what? Let's not get into history. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to show you guys. I have, like, the pictures on it on my, like, social media, but I'm very proud of it, so I might as well, like, show you guys. It's a little dark because, like, outside it's dark, and the only, like, light that I have is my, this light. Let me see if I can move myself a little bit. That light over there. So I made this. It was from a shell I found on the beach in Long Island. I made it. I'm so happy. The front is the asexual flag, because I'm asexual. And the back is like a cute turquoise. You can't see it, but it's like a turquoise color with the Long Island. Made it myself, made my own souvenir, and I love it. I'm proud of it. So, yeah. I think I caught up with you with all the shit that I did. Also, I had two or three new subscribers, which that makes me happy. So thank you for subscribing. I hope I don't disappoint you. Luis Miguel La Serie, if you joined for that. We'll probably return the second season this fall or somewhere or next, because it's a Netflix series. They take like a long time to film shit. But yeah, it'll be back soon. And I will totally review it, because like I said in my final review of it, totally like the story. I like the actor. I like the story. It's a real life story, but I like the way they filmed it. I like the way it was captured. I like the way that Luis Miguel, when he wants to, can be forward about things. When he doesn't want to, and in his right not to be, he can be secretive. So again, thank you for the new subscribers. And now on with the bitching of the visual novel, Shall We Date, Solomare, Pointless Minutia, I guess. Let's start off with the meh one, because why the fuck save that? Because it's just gonna be like, Seiya from Ninja Shadow is the cousin of Asagi, or Ashagi, whichever way you want to say it. He is one of the three guys from the beginning of the show story. He is the priest, and he was one of my favorite original stories, because he had like elemental, like folk stuff from Japan, like magic, creatures. It's reminded me of Inuyasha and all the yokai centric shit that I used to watch as a kid. So I liked it. And it was the only one that was unique that way. Like, the other stories have not reached the spiritualism that that one did. Which, okay, not all of them have to do the same thing, but crap, I feel like we're plateauing with Ninja Shadow, because just, hey, new guys. The new guys are doing the same thing as the old guys. They're smuggling guns into the country. They're going to start a revolution or a dictatorship or an invasion. It's just different guys. Or they're connected with the original bad guy, which was Towa. I forgot his name, because he's such an insignificant character. He doesn't do much other than, I want to be leader of this country, because I know that if we don't open up to the world, this is I think this is pre, oh fuck, what is the name of the era? Oh fuck, I forgot the name of the era. Well, it's pre-era opening up to the Western world after the Western world shot at them and killed everybody to get in. What the fuck was the name of the Meiji? Pre-Meiji. It's pre-Meiji era. Probably later half of the Tokugawa era. Probably. So yeah. So it's like they're plateauing with their story here with me, because Seiya was kind of dull, and it turned me off completely when she said, we're friends, and he's like, oh, just friends? Oh, so you thought that she was going to be like the thing that you fucked. By the way, she is a person that pretends to be her brother because her brother was murdered, and she's trying to murder the guy that murdered her. It's like ancient Japan, restoring your honor kind of thing. Also, fuck that fat turd piece of shit that murdered like the whole village for funsies. Like, you know, he's the only character you're not gonna date because he's ugly because he's ugly. He's bald and fat. So you know he's not the guy you're gonna date. You can, like, there is a character from the original game, because this is a sequel game, that is a sociopath and a psychopath, and he murders and, like, disembowels people. You date that guy. So there you go. So you date that guy. You date the other guy that basically took you to a brothel the whole fucking story. Like, can we not? Took you to a brothel the whole fucking story. You date another guy that's basically his underling, is creepy doctor. Same thing. So you date awful people, but if they're ugly, you'll never date them. I can assure you, if the guy who killed her brother was pretty, you would date him, and you would defend him. Which is one of my main awful things about these stories. So Seiya is just, he looks like Asagi, but a lighter hair, and he has a twin brother, which I don't know, is this Satan, Asagi and Satan, or something like that. I mean, Asagi and Seiya. Satan and Seiya. They're twin brothers. One has shorter hair, one has longer hair. They're both diviners like Asagi. One is weaker than the other one in the divine shit. And I caught you up with his story because it's so very little of his backstory. Most of these men don't have much backstory. And the story is just basically same crap. Only difference is now there's a shadow organization. A shadow organization. Because you're already a shadow organization in the government trying to kill off people and trying to start a war. And you don't deal with that much in this story because you're supposed to tail this guy because they don't trust you. They don't trust Seiya because he just comes in. He tells you that his leader told him to come and tell you stuff, but the leader isn't there. And you never meet his leader. Never. They call him Yahiko, which that brings me back to Rurouni Kenshin, but that's a different story. They call him Yahiko, but I don't think we see Yahiko through the whole story. He doesn't show up. When he does show up, it's like off screen and you don't see him. So it is iffy. The twins are iffy, and I don't trust twins whatsoever. Also, your character is a twin. If I haven't done the background to this story before. I didn't like it. It was dull. And the guy turned me off. He was already dull, and he turned me off with the whole, I only see you as a sex object, so if you call me friend, I am disappointed. And my favorite part of these stories, like the Ninja Shadow ones, is they kind of forget that it's supposed to be a romance. And like one chapter before it ends sometimes, they're just like, oh yeah, I like him now. And and that was it. I didn't like it. So I'm gonna do the next guy I hated. I didn't like it, but it was meh. I didn't hate him. It was okay. I feel like some of these guys, you know, like some guys you put them into categories. Some of these guys are just good friend material, and they force a relationship on it because he's dateable. But like the characters don't seem like chemistry don't seem to formulate. At least not in my head. So next story is Guard Me Sherlock, one of my favorite, like ultimates is what I forgot to say what these are called. One of my favorite ultimates of Shall We Date, Solmare, Facebook type, because it's Sherlock. It's more cerebral, a little bit more cerebral than the other ones. It's platonic-y, not so much sexually, but depending on the story, it could be more sexually loved. But now that they're doing the versus stories, because it's Sherlock versus XXX, or Sherlock versus da-da-da-da, because obviously the story is called Guard Me Sherlock, so he has to be involved in it somehow. Some people are complaining that it's versus, you don't get to be with the guy all the time. And I'm like, you get more time with the guy. Sometimes, but I think that they give me an ouch because I hated this guy before he even came out. And I know that's like awful to hate characters and stuff before you even see him. But as you can tell from one of the names that I put, his name is Jekyll. Dr. Henry Jekyll. So, what do you do with an iconic gothic horror story from the I think it was the 1800s. 1800s. If I'm wrong, I am sorry. From the 1800s where, it deals with man's struggle. Mostly men. Like, man as not human being, but mostly man. But it could be, like, I think they have done several, like, interpretations of it. There's the Jerry Lewis one with, Dr. Dolittle. Not Dr. Dolittle. Is it No, it's not Dr. Dolittle. It's, the one that Eddie Murphy remade and he hated. Professor Clump. Like, I forgot I forgot the name of the storyline, but it's basically that, like, an alter ego or your inner self, your inner true self coming out. And is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? And I think when I say that it's mostly a male story, but it could be reinterpreted any other way. But it was written in a male's perspective. Like, the angry id, the angry, savage part of man. Man is human, man is male, whichever. But that is Ed. Ed Hyde. Sorry. Seltzer water. That is that character. And the dynamic between the doctor part trying to either cure himself or trying to see what would this do for science, and ultimately dooming himself because, one, as a scientist, it's kind of stupid to test your own fucking things on you. It's kind of like the Hulk is basically the same thing. We have this retold millions of times over and over and over. It's not new, but it's a good story to retell and reimagine for different generations, different genres, different things. And what do they do with this character? Remember, this is one person split in two in the same body. So what do they do with this character that is very iconic and can be semi-tragic, if not tragic? It's kind of like a werewolf story, which I love those. So what do? They make him a real, like, person, separate. And his Hyde character is his brother. They're two different people, normal people, and they work for a shadow organization called M, which, if you know, Sherlock and Dr. Moriarty, and he works for Moriarty, but in this story he kind of does and he kind of doesn't. In the end, it's boring. They made something that could be extraordinary. They could have been an extraordinary addition. The psyche, you can even do a parallel between abusive, like, relationships, or a mentally ill person that can be abusive, but they can't help it, or they can, but they abuse the woman, and the woman either deals with it or doesn't, and leaves, or not, or deals with it. Like, it could have been interesting to deal with the dynamics of a relationship with a person that's split psychologically. The psyche is split in two. And okay, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe, like I said before, these things could be reimagined and done differently with every genre to describe a thing. Here's the thing. They're boring. Because look what happened. This is, like, it was a cute little story in the beginning, because, like, oh, a dog is missing. Well, I'll go to Sherlock and get it. You meet Hyde in a facility. I mean, Dr. Jekyll. You meet Dr. Jekyll in a facility. And Sherlock suspects this is where the dog is. Okay, so this is Dr. Jekyll. You already knew from, like, the introduction, like, their introduction was in different characters' ending story. So you knew that they're already separate. So they already prepared you for some disappointment. And then you meet Hyde. But the main character, knows who Hyde is already, because she works with him because he's an actor. He's a stunt double. He's an acting stunt double. Or he's just a stunt actor, like Tom Cruise. So they know each other. And you know what the funny thing is? It took me the whole, like, this is how dull the story is. It took me the whole story to question one thing. Why are they brothers and have different last names? They never mention why. You can assume that they're either adopted or have different daddies or mommies, or they are lying about their brotherhood. But they're not, because they act like brothers. They never say they're lying about their brotherhood. They're not saying anything. They don't look alike, but they say, oh yeah, you guys look alike. They don't look alike. Like, the doctor character is dull and dry, because he's supposed to be. Jekyll is supposed to be like a normal, humdrum kind of guy. Emotionless, and he's a scientist, so for the greater good, right? For the greater good, I will probably you thinking he's testing on the animals. And then one night, he does something that you look at and you say, I don't think I could forgive this. Like, while you're investigating, one night he drugs you to scare you off. I don't know. He didn't really explain that in the end very well. He drugs you and shows you a scary image of a dog. Because there's this legend in this place where you are that there's this demon dog that kills people. And later, if you've ever seen old Scooby-Doo, you know where this is going. So Sherlock gets scared for her, takes her away. She was sick because it's like a date rape drug. Because some date rape drugs, what they do to you is, if you don't get raped, oh my god, this is kind of dark, but it's basically the effect. If you don't get raped and they give you too much, you get the side effects of feeling weak, sleepy, throw up. You feel like throwing up. You feel like you're gonna die. You even might sleep for days afterwards because of this. It's basically what happened to her. So there's that implication. He didn't do anything to her. There's not like the other characters in this like universe or other Solimari games, which they do. He didn't do anything to her in the sense of that, but there's still a violation of her sense of self, like private, like her will, and all this because he wanted to scare her off or some shit like that, or like he said something. But she woke up anyway, I think, in one time and saw him talking to Professor Moriarty. So you already know that he is working for the bad guy. And you already knew he was working for Moriarty because, again, they spoil that in an ending in another character beforehand. So it's pointless, in my opinion. It's pointless to do that. But whatever. Like, you know that the main goodness of a Sherlock story is the mystery and how he sees the mystery and how he solves the mystery. That's basically what Sherlock is. And also, like, yeah, he's kind of a dick. Even though I find him hilarious. He's like Dr. House. Like, Dr. House is a dick, an asshole. Yet I find him hilarious. Like I guess that whole trope of lovable asshole. There. So, he takes you home and to his home, and you stay at his house. Like you always do. Because you're always going to stay at the house. The Sherlock house. She never lives in her own apartment ever. Rarely does she ever. But whatever. She goes on a date with Henry, the Jekyll. And they like each other. Then, in the end of the date, Sherlock interrupts and takes her home. Because he has like this crush on Irene Adler, which is the name of the character that your character plays, because she's an actress. So yeah, it's funny. He's not being creepy. I think he just wanted to know because he suspected the guy who wouldn't suspect him. Then, before I forgot to say that the dog that you're looking for mysteriously shows up and mysteriously gives him back is Henry. He said that he found it in front of the doorsteps of a place that the dog was never at before. And somehow he thought people would believe that. I mean, the main character believes it because she's a moron, and she'll believe whatever the main guy that she's after tells her, because writing is awful. So, so from there, you could forgive the story for being silly and kind of destroying a very good character in literary history. Then it gets to the point that I'm like, I don't think I can forgive him. You think right here, if it ends here, it'd be fine, right? Like, whatever. But then Sherlock goes and says, I don't trust him. We should look somewhere else. And she's like, okay. And they go, and they secretly look, and they get caught. Well, they don't get caught. Henry kind of figured it out, and they try to scare him away with dogs. They find out it's like fake. It's fake. They tell her they took the mask off of old man Jenkins. And then it's a not real. The monster isn't real, and it's really just awful people abusing animals. And Henry's okay with it because he's an awful human being. Basically, it's like Hostel, I guess you could say. Rich people come together to this underground club. They get poor animals to, like dogs, to fight, and then they use small dogs for bait dogs. If you know what dog fighting is, you know the horrific practices that they do. And I'm just like, am I supposed to like feel sympathetic for this guy? I don't feel sympathetic for this guy. He is okay with killing animals for the entertainment of rich people. And also, what is entertaining about dog fights and cockfights? Seeing an animal rip, like, fuck, there's fucking video games. You could play those. You could do whatever the fuck. Hell, fight each other if you want. Do Fight Club. If you want to hurt something, hurt yourselves willingly. Don't put a fucking animal in there who can't defend themselves, make them savage, then murder them. That's awful. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, I don't like when animals abuse, fake or otherwise. And so yeah, no, a big fucking no for me. For like this one pissed me off. Like, it pissed me off to begin with because Jekyll and Hyde were not the mythical creature that he was. It's just two idiots working for an organization. One is a thug that likes beating people up. That's obviously Hyde. And the other one is the scientist that likes murdering animals. What would he do? So, no. I didn't like the story either. It wasn't that. It was just infuriatingly boring and angerifying. I don't know how that works. Speaking of which, the last story is Joker. I skipped Joker because he's one of the original three. There's Joker, Luke, and Kyle. Kyle is a Cheshire Cat, Luke is the Hatter, and Joker is a wild card, if you were, because he has nothing to do with Wonderland. By the way, the story is Alice in Wonderland, but it's called Lost Alice because the girl doesn't remember who she is, and she's in a storybook, kind of like Alice. And the guy named Spinner of Tales, who does the story, brings her there, erases her mind, her memories, and she has to be part of the story. She has to follow the story, which is the Cheshire leads her around. The Hatter does tea parties. Fuck off, I know what the Joker does. And the Joker, well, if you read the other stories first, the first three stories, because that's when he does mainly anything, he screwed her over in one by forcing, like, the memories back, which was the Cheshires. And in Luke's, I don't know what he did. Suspicion. He always has suspicion of Luke and the Queen, I suppose, because he doesn't trust them. And here's the thing. Luke is Joker is the most appealing character. That's why I never picked him. Like, first, he's just a redhead. No offense to redhead, I love redheads. But there's nothing appealing about, like, it's an Alice in Wonderland. You're supposed to feel like this is a magical place. Hatter is a hatter. He has a hat. You think he'd be crazy. He wasn't crazy. He was just sweet, because he also took up a mantle in there to save you, because he's your friend. Spoiler. So he's just a sweet, safe story, I suppose you could say. He's a safe, sweet little story of love. And then the Cheshire Cat is a Cheshire Cat. He actually kind of acts like the Cheshire Cat in a way. But then he's just a creepy pervert. At least in that story, you get some satisfaction because she kicks him out of bed or something. So it's like she puts him in his place. Didn't like Kyle's story, by the way. He was the first one I read. He's the Cheshire. Didn't like it. Again, because this is a character that exists. And, of course, there's the whole make him pretty so you can fuck him kind of element. But, like, literature and entertainment is weird now. Isn't it? So, I have a lot of, like, itchiness in my throat. So basically, didn't like it because the Joker basically is, okay, we're going to talk about what I always talk about these stories, but I think it bears to write that we need better written males in these stories. Abusive men, if we're trying, like, people say, well, I'm just reading this to get away from real life. Well, let's not write abusive men in fantasy. And if we're gonna write abusive men in fantasy, don't make him the main girl's dude. And if you're going to do that, even, because fantasy and literature, you explore things, make it something that is challenging for him. Make her push back. Make him feel like he's an asshole, because he's an asshole. Make him maybe change. I know that the bullshit that the woman changes the man is bullshit. But at least make the character develop. Other than, I'm man, you do what I say. Okay. Like, it's boring. And that's what I think Joker was. Boring. He was boring. On top of being an abusive, controlling asshole. He basically put suspicion in her head that Luke was evil. He wasn't. He was hiding something. Apparently, yeah, so were you. He forced her to stay. Like, you read the story. He gripped her hard. He didn't let her go because she was going to go see Luke. That shit doesn't resonate with me in a good way. So that was like chapter 1. You lost me already. And then it just progressed into, like, well, he fell in love with her when he found her. And he was a little girl, so he's just a creep. He's just a fucking creep that was obsessed over a child. He was also a child. I don't understand how this works, by the way, this story works, because he's a fictional character in this story universe. A fictional character created by the Spinner of Tales. Somehow he was a child at one point. He left because he broke out, because later, spoiler, you find out he is a criminal and he had his memories erased. So he doesn't know what the crime was. And everybody knows he's a criminal. And his name is Joker. He doesn't have a real name. And I think they never said his real name by the end of the story. So the story is badly written because it leaves out so many threads. On top of it being awful in the sense of the guy. He finds Alice when she's a child. And if you read this Lost Alice thing, the Spinner of Tales wants an Alice. Okay, why the fuck didn't he take Alex when he went to get his asshole character? He didn't. He just erased her memories of him and erased his memories of her and him. And you're like, what was the point of that? Just take her now. She's Alice. No. He didn't take her. But, like this doesn't make any sense to me. He didn't take her back then. But he waited until her parents died, which I suspect he might have killed her parents, because isn't it convenient? Obviously, the reasons why she leaves the real world to Wonderland are very different. Because sometimes it's because of a friend that she's looking for. Either the spoiler again, Queen of Hearts, or in the Kronos arc, it was a friend that was in a coma because of Kronos, and we never see this friend again. He wasn't even put as a dateable character, which is hilarious. He was kind of a dull-looking character anyway, but it was hilarious. And this guy, it's actually a friend. It's shocking. A friend that is in a coma for most of the story, and she finally gets him out of the coma and then completely ignores him for the new dude that she has as a boyfriend, because this woman, what is this woman? She is that friend of yours that abandons you completely for this man. She leaves you all alone. Like alone. Doesn't talk to you on the phone, no text, no nothing. She goes out to that man. That man is correct in everything that he do. Everything. He is my man. He's mine. And he loves me. And just completely abandons you. So, I don't like the main character of the story. And you'll see why. And it was way before this story. But this was cemented in the whole, like, she's a fucking horrible human being. She's a self-centered woman that only cares about herself, her needs, like everybody else. And also, they try to make her a strong character. She's not a strong character. Pouting a lot doesn't make you grunting and doesn't make you a strong character. Making decisions for yourself makes you a strong character. Fighting back makes you a strong character. Challenging people verbally or physically or magically or whatever the fuck, that makes you a strong character. Not being dependent on an asshole makes you a strong character. But this lady was supposed to be the tough one. She sucks. She fucking sucks. She annoys the hell out of me. So, Joker and you travel along to find out how to get you back home. And you get your memories back. And because you want your memories back. I know, it's weird, but she asked for the memories to be taken away. Then she wants her memories back. Nobody understands her. I don't understand. So he tries to help her. They get invited to the Queen's castle, the Red Queen. They go to the Red Queen. He doesn't trust her either because she's hiding something. You know, a person that was kind and friendly. But you can't be friends with no one because I'm the only one you can trust. I hate that shit. The dumbass listens to him. So they go somewhere else. Then they go to the stupid gate that you're supposed to go to the Tears, the Lake of Tears. That is where your memories are in this land. And so they need permission to go into a forbidden part of the library. There's a magical library, blah, blah, blah. So they go to Owen, which is one of my least, characters either. He's speaking of manipulative assholes, he's the one who traps you inside his castle and you get Stockholm Syndrome, and that's how you fall in love with him. He is the king of chessboard. I'm guessing he's supposed to be like the White Queen, but they changed it to the Chess King. And he says, go fuck yourself, which is hilarious. It almost fights Joker. So that was a no. That was a big fat no. And then you wander and waffle around until you figure it out how to open this stupid thing anyway. Without the help of the stupid library. And you get your memories back. And he gets his memories back. And they remember the stupid scene together. Another thing. Maybe I'm overly cynical, but the animes and the stories that have two kids that are like each other as a kid, and the man thinks that means that he is entitled to her no matter what, even though she doesn't remember who he is, and has an actual relationship with someone else. Creepy. Weird. Very creepy and possessive and weird. I don't find that romantic. Could be that I'm strange. Maybe it's written badly. Probably that it. So, yeah, they remember each other, blah, blah, blah. The spinner of tales is bad because you're not supposed to remember anything because you're supposed to play along with the story. But according to this story, if it has a cop-out ending because in the other stories, he still has strength. If you realize who you are and don't play the roles anyway, even though the whole contention in the story is if you don't play your roles, he'll kill you or hurt you or erase you. But apparently, if she doesn't play her role and rejects it, he loses his power. And then she comes up to him and says, "You're the one that brought us together. Thank you." I hate that shit in animes, too. The guy that tortures you and then the main protagonist is like, "Gee golly willikers, son, thank you for helping me on my journey. Motherfucker killed your family. Why are you thanking him?" Metaphorically, the spinners is not confirmed that he killed their family. But so he disappears. So here's the thing. She wants to go back to a place where her parents are dead. There's no magic, and everybody she likes is in the Wonderland. And I never understand why Alice goes back home, because Alice is never happy at her house. Why the fuck do you have to go back home if the place is safe now? Stay there! They went back home, and their happy ending is boring minutia. He's barely scraping by on his magic, like a magician, I guess you could call him. Because his magic isn't as strong in the real world as it is in the Alice world. Underworld, or Underland, whatever the fuck it's called. And she does nothing. So she's just the person stuck at home because, like, she has no friends. All her friends are in Wonderland. She never goes back to Wonderland. She doesn't make new friends. In the real world, she's stuck at home and she wrote a book. How is this magical? How is this happy? How is this good? How is this happiness and fun? Everybody complained that Luke was the boring character of the original three. I say nay. He was not boring at all. He was fun, there was magic, and you could go back and forth in the real world and in the fake world. He let you have friends, he let you be yourself. You weren't stuck at home waiting for the fucking asshole to come to get you because that's all you were to him. Joker is the boring character. Joker is the most boring character. I made a joke like, oh gee, them talking about work, barely scraping by. This is fun. I can't wait for the next 4 fucking tickets, because you get tickets in this game to read a chapter, or page, actually. Can't wait for the next fucking tickets. 4 tickets, they'll decide if they're gonna watch Netflix or not. Because that is how boring that is. A story about magic. A story about... You even say the story is about psychological pressures of a young woman in that time society, which is like 1800s, dealing with like growing up, dealing with like the pressures of life, and this like Wonderland was her psyche dealing with that shit. You could say that because that's how they've been interpreted in the modern world, like the Dark Alice stuff and the newer Alice's stuff. Though I like that the Tim Burton Alice doesn't make it like it's fake. It's real. It happened. It just also helps her like make decisions in life. And I like that. So basically, yeah. This was awful. This is like I picked the wrong guys to read. Cause holy shit, I was screaming. Like the people who type screaming at my screen. And then I read like another character that I haven't finished completely, and I probably won't finish for a long time because a new character came out from the story of Love Tangle. Everybody said that this character was sweet and good, and when I read it, he's just another manipulative asshole that controls this woman. Which is easy because this woman, like, if we're talking about stupid, this woman's like a guppy. Like, ew, I hated it. It was awful. It was all awful. Hopefully the new guys are not so awful. It's so hard to ask for, like, good people. Are men awful even in fiction? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, thank you for joining in my long-ass rant. You're lucky I don't talk about, like nerd stuff, like really nerdy stuff, like American nerdy stuff, because American nerdy stuff isn't fun anymore because of fucking 40-year-old men fucking opinionating on young women's bodies and what they should look like to please their sexual arousal. But anyway, I am removed. This was my... I don't know. I don't have a tagline. This was my story. I guess this was my review of the... Oh yeah, my Shall We Date extravaganza, 3 for the price of 1 review of 3 assholes in 1 fucking video. I guess 2 assholes and 1 meh. 1 meh. So, yeah. Join me next time. Probably I'll finish the Wizard's Heart asshole that I hate too. Maybe. That's like, they made that so fucking long if you're just using the free tickets that they give you. And honestly, I am not motivated to give a flying fuck about finishing that anytime soon. Probably because if the new guy comes out, I need that. But other than that, that Caesar Raphael, holy fuck. It also sounds like his name is Sally Raphael from, like, the 90s talk show lady. But holy shit, Caesar Raphael. Like, I wasn't the only one disappointed in this one. Like, everybody who's in the comment section in that story is like, fuck, that was the most awful. So, get ready for that one. See you next time. There is no schedule. It's whenever I have something to review and I want to review it in front of the camera, not on Twitter. Also, follow me on Twitter. My name is Mamoof on Twitter. Just at Mamoof. You'll find me. I have the Integra face because Integra is my bae. I also have an Instagram, which is Move77. I just videos of random shit, talk random shit, pictures of random shit. Everything is random in my thing. And I'm not telling you my Facebook because my Facebook is just Facebook. Like, will it be there tomorrow anyway? And yeah, my channel. Want to subscribe? You can subscribe. You don't have to subscribe. You want to give it a like? Give it a like. If you don't want to give it a like, you don't have to give it a like. You want to yell at me in my comment section? Yell at me in my comment section. I actually would like people who actually play these games and read these stories to tell me their input on this. Am I exaggerating? Am I putting too much thought into it? Or do you hate it as much as I do? Tell me. I'll find out if anybody watched this video at all, if I get anything. Otherwise, Houdini. See you later, guys.